Shri Jairam Ramesh.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman, sir. Sir, during the budget also, my turn came during the slog overs, and even on the finance bill, I'm speaking virtually at the very end in the slog overs, but I'm fortunate that the Honorable Finance Minister is present. So I wish to make only 3 points. First, in the finance bill, we have the extraordinary situation and spectacle of 5 acts being amended. The Forward Contracts Regulation Act, 1952, the Securities Contract Regulation Act of 1956, the Foreign Exchange Management Act of 1999, the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, 2002, and the Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Act of 2003. So this is truly extraordinary, and one would have expected the Honorable Finance Minister to be upfront and bring forward the amendments to these acts not as part of the finance bill, even though they may have been part of his budget speech, but as separate standalone amendments. So out of these 5 acts, the amendment to the Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Act is a very small amendment. 31st March 2015 is being replaced by 31st March 2018. But sir, I do not think that there has been ever a situation where amendments, major amendments to important acts have been pushed through as part of the finance bill. We have a very distinguished finance minister who has presented large number of budgets, who's also been Prime Minister sitting here today, sir, and I'm sure he would not recall any such situation where major amendments to major acts are being sought to be pushed through as part of the finance bill. I would request the Honorable Finance Minister, of course now it is fait accompli, we have no other alternative but to accept the finance bill and approve it, but I do feel, sir, that this is an increase in the democracy deficit. You may reduce the fiscal deficit, but you certainly are increasing the democracy deficit. In the last 11 months, 51 bills have been presented in Parliament, out of which only 5 have been referred to standing committees. So this is making a mockery of democratic institutions, and I hope that this is the first and last time that such major amendments on which Parliament should have actually had an opportunity to debate, particularly the Foreign Exchange Management Act and the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, which have a vital bearing on the black money issue as well, by which the government swears. So sir, my first point relates to these 5 acts and the arbitrary manner in which the finance bill has been used, bypassing the standing committee, bypassing normal parliamentary procedures to push through these amendments. So my second point relates to this magical 42% figure. Now this 42% figure, the 42% illusion that has been created, that this is a mantra, this is a road to economic nirvana as far as India is concerned. So I'd like to quote from an interview that the chairman of the 14th Finance Commission, Dr. Venugopal Reddy, gave on the 23rd of April to a leading economic newspaper. And he said, and I quote, "If you look at it carefully, there is no big shift in aggregate transfers to states. The total transfer from the union to the states put together works out roughly to 63% of the divisible pool. The seminal shift really is in terms of the composition of the transfer. The real difference has been in terms of the freedom available to the states. So it is not a quantitative shift, but a qualitative shift," unquote. This is Dr. Venugopal Reddy, the chairman of the 14th Finance Commission speaking. So 42% is certainly a huge step up, and it has to be welcomed. It will only strengthen the financial position of states. But the tax devolution is only one of 4 routes by which resources are going to the states. If the overall position does not change, if something is increasing, something has to depress somewhere. So you have tax devolution, you have non-planned grants, you have planned grants, and you have centrally sponsored schemes. So what is going to happen is the planned grants are going to come down, the centrally sponsored schemes are going to come down, and the overall will remain, but 32% has become 42%. So what has been the casualty? If you look at the casualty of this, And this has been discussed endlessly in Parliament. It has also been discussed by now in all the standing committees. The allocation for the Ministry of Drinking Water and Sanitation comes down from 15,000 crores to 6,000 crores. The allocation for ICDS comes down from 18,000 crores to 8,000 crores. The allocation for the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare comes down from 35,000 crores to 26,000 to 29,000 crores. So 2 minutes. The allocation for school education and literacy comes down from 55,000 crores to 42,000 crores. And the allocation for agriculture and cooperation comes down from 22,000 crores to 17,000 crores. I know what the finance minister is going to say, sir. The finance minister is going to say that the deficit or the gap is going to be picked up by the state governments. So the budget, when it is prepared, is based on assumptions as far as central government is concerned. But this is the first budget that is being prepared in an expectation that state governments are going to expend, the state governments are going to have an increase in their allocation. Some programs like the BRGF have been completely abolished and transferred to the states. So I would request the Honorable Finance Minister to have a plan B, because it is unlikely that the states in the short run, maybe 3 years from now, 4 years from now, his expectation might materialize. But in the short run, it is unlikely that the states are going to actually compensate for the reduction in the central allocation. I would request the Honorable Finance Minister to have plan B. If states do not compensate for the fallback, what is going to be the position? Finally, sir, one of the recommendations of the Finance Commission has to do with special category states and non-special category states. So the Finance Minister is smiling because he knows what I am going to ask. When I raised this issue last time, he nodded his head when I asked whether the government has accepted the recommendation to abolish the distinction between special category states and non-special category states. However, sir, in the GST bill that the Finance Minister is bringing on Monday, there is a provision which says special provisions for the states of Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Jammu and Kashmir, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Sikkim, Tripura, Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand, which are the special category states. So I would like the Honorable Finance Minister to clarify once and for all. Do we have special category states or don't we have special category states? If it has been abolished, why is this provision then being introduced in the GST bill that is going to be taken up on Monday or thereafter? So I think, sir, these are questions that the Honorable Finance Minister hopefully will address as part of his speech. We all hope that the assumption that allocation in key programs have been reduced, will be compensated by the states, will actually fulfill, will actually materialize. But the Honorable Finance Minister would be doing the country a great service if he were to develop a plan B and actually at the middle of the financial year review the spending patterns of the states based on the budgets that they have presented and come back to the House with a fresh proposals for additional expenditure, particularly in the key sectors of health, education and nutrition and drinking water, in which the states are unlikely to increase their allocations. Thank you, sir.